Can you imagine reshaping the entire cultural and philosophical map of a subcontinent? Okay, now imagine doing all of that in just 32 years. Well, that's the incredible story of Adi Shankara, a man whose short, brilliant life left an impact that's still felt more than 1,000 years later.
So to really get a grip on what Shankara pulled off, we first have to travel back in time to the world he was born into, the 8th century in India. It was a time of serious crisis. Some have called it a dark pit of decadence. Things were falling apart, and the whole subcontinent was crying out for a guiding light.
And the scale of the chaos? It was just staggering. You see, the country wasn't just split up politically into a bunch of warring kingdoms, it was spiritually shattered. There were over 70 different philosophical sects, all at each other's throats. Religion, for many, had just become a mess of empty rituals and corrupt practices. It got so bad that a lot of people just gave up and turned to nihilism, the belief in nothing at all.
But right in the middle of all this confusion, in a tiny village in Kerala called Kaladi, a solution was born. And this, right here, is where our story really kicks off.
32. That's it. Just take a look at that number. That's how many years Adi Shankara had on this planet. I mean, think about that. In a lifespan that's shorter than most people's careers today, he walked the entire length and breadth of India, wrote texts that are still considered foundational, and set up institutions that are still running. It's almost unbelievable.
And if you look at this timeline, it's just wild. By age 6, the kid had mastered the Vedas. By 8, he'd already renounced the world to become a monk. And get this, by 16, as a teenager, he was writing these incredibly deep philosophical works that scholars still pore over today. His intellectual journey wasn't just fast, it was absolutely meteoric.
So how did one person manage to bring so many conflicting groups together? Well, he didn't do it with an army or a crown. He did it with the sheer power of his mind. His weapon of choice? Debate. And he was, by all accounts, undefeated. Now, his most legendary showdown was against a guy named Mandana Misra, who was a huge intellectual figure at the time. Their argument boiled down to a really fundamental question. What's the whole point of the scriptures? Is it, like Misra said, all about performing rituals perfectly, the path of karma? Or was it, as Shankara argued, about something deeper, achieving ultimate knowledge and wisdom, the path of jnana?
This debate went on for 18 straight days. The moderator was actually Mandana Misra's wife, Ubaya Bharati, a brilliant scholar herself, and she came up with this genius test. She put fresh flower garlands on both of them and said, basically, that the argument would be so fiery, the heat of agitation from whoever was losing would cause his garland to wilt. Well, after almost 3 weeks, Misra's garland faded. He accepted defeat, and in an absolutely stunning turn of events, he became one of Shankara's most dedicated disciples.
So what was this powerful idea? What was this philosophy that Shankara used to win over the greatest minds of his era and, unite an entire nation? Well, it all came down to a philosophy of radical, absolute oneness, known as Advaita Vedanta. Okay, so the first piece of the puzzle is this concept of Brahman. Now, this isn't a god with a big beard in the sky. Think of it more as the fundamental fabric of all reality. It's the one single unchanging source that everything in the universe comes from. It's the universal self. And the second piece is Atman. This is the consciousness inside you, your inner self, the soul. It's that core essence of who you are, way behind all your thoughts, your body, and your personality. And right here, this is the core of Shankara's entire teaching. It's a simple equation, but it's absolutely mind-bending. His great realization was that your individual self, your Atman, isn't just a piece of that universal reality, Brahman. It is Brahman. There's no difference. The two are one and the same. This incredible truth is summed up in what are called the Mahavakyas, or the great sayings from the ancient texts. They're all just different ways of saying the same astonishing thing. That ultimate reality you're searching for out there, it's actually right here, inside you. As it says, that thou art. You are that. But here's the thing. Shankara wasn't just a philosopher with big ideas. He was a brilliant organizer. He knew that for his vision of unity to actually stick around, it needed a physical foundation, something that would last. His strategy was just pure genius. He set up 4 huge monasteries, called mathas, at the 4 corners of India: north, south, east, and west. And these weren't just schools. They were like spiritual lighthouses. designed to protect and spread this unified vision, making sure the entire subcontinent was held in a single philosophical embrace. Each one of these mathas was strategically placed, and he put one of his 4 top disciples in charge of each. And remember Shareshwara, the guy he beat in that 18-day debate? He got to lead the southern matha. On top of that, each center was linked to one of the 4 great Vedas, weaving his entire system right into the most ancient traditions of the land.
So as we get to the end of his incredibly short life, you just have to step back and look at the sheer scale of his legacy. It is really, really hard to overstate his impact.
I mean, he didn't just revive a philosophy, he gave it an entire operating system. He didn't just teach people, he created a whole monastic order to carry the flame forward. The amount he wrote is staggering, all the foundational commentaries on the key texts. He basically created both the intellectual software and the institutional hardware for a complete cultural rebirth.
And so, after traveling the whole subcontinent, debating every challenger he came across, and setting up his 4 pillars of unity, Shankara's work was done. At just 32 years old, his journey came to an end high up in the sacred Himalayan mountains, leaving behind a spiritually revitalized and unified India. And all of this leaves us with one final big question to chew on. If our individual self is really the same as the ultimate universal reality, then what's the point of a single life? But maybe Shankara's own life is the answer. If we are all one with everything, then perhaps the purpose of a life is to wake up to that fact, and in doing so, help everyone else around us wake up too. It's a pretty powerful idea to think about.